All right, friends. Today we are doing something a little bit different, but so important. I am delighted, over the moon, to bring you a guest onto the show today. And we are talking about something that I do not usually talk about myself, but I know how powerful this is for entrepreneurs because passion and the way that we live our lives and the way that we build relationships is so critical for business and personal success. So today I'm bringing on Susan Bratton. She's intimacy wellness expert and a champion and advocate for those who desire intimacy and passion in their entire life. Like I said, their relationships, their personal life, their business, it's all connected. Susan is a best-selling author and publisher of Lovemaking Techniques, Bedroom Communication Skills, and Sexual Vitality. She has so much great advice because she truly is a leading expert in intimate wellness, sexual regeneration protocols, and ageless sexuality. You'll get more information about her, but please check out the links below. You can find more about her at betterlover.com and more personal posts over on her Instagram at Susan Bratton. And you can also even grab some of the supplements that she talks about, Flow, Boost, Desire, and Drive, at the 20 store. Check out the links below and get cozy because this is juicy. This is powerful. Enjoy, you guys. All right, Susan. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know it's a little bit of a crazy time for everyone in the world. It is 2020. It is late March. We are in the midst of a global pandemic with the coronavirus, COVID-19. But we are still able to meet virtually, and I so appreciate your time being with us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, especially to talk to entrepreneurs in a time of crisis, and to be a relationship expert entrepreneur in a time of
Yeah.
crisis, and to be an old entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, in times of like stress or chaos or turmoil, it's really
Yeah,
interesting how it impacts everything from our businesses to our relationships.
to our
So
libido.
definitely excited to dig into all of that with you today.
Yeah.
The first question I have for you, though, Susan, looking at your bio and everything you've accomplished, I'm curious if this is what you had always dreamed of becoming as a little girl, or what ultimately got you into the business you're in right now. What's your story?
Sure. Well, I run two companies right now, and I run them with my husband and a team of about 20 worldwide global employees. And the first company we've run for 15 years, and the second company is a new company. We just launched last year. And we used our team that existed in our first company to launch our second company together. So that's been really good as well. And we started out, my husband and I, just as two people together. We hired our first customer care team member as our very first employee, and then in Manila, and then we hired a programmer in India as our second member, and we're going on 15 years now, and we've built our team slowly over time, and every single person's globally distributed and works from home.
Nice.
And this business I started in my late 40s, early 50s, because it was a business where I knew that I never wanted to get in my car and go to work for anybody else ever again. And prior to my mid 40s, I started my first company when I was 26, but I went on and off over the course of 30 years of my career, working for companies, then working for myself, working for companies, then working for myself. I did a lot of consulting type of work when I didn't work for a company. And I really liked the balance of having both work for startups as well as work for big brands and work with big brands. I've worked with all the big brand named companies that you could imagine, as well as being my own independent entrepreneur, working by myself, as well as working with venture-backed startups. So I've kind of done the gamut. And when I got into my mid 40s and I knew I no longer wanted to work for anyone else, I wanted to start a company, and I wanted to start a company with my husband because we had gone through a very difficult time and almost got divorced because our intimacy had fallen apart because of our heavy, heavy career load.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was gone. I traveled I was overnight in hotels at least a month a year when my daughter was 6 years old. And I had a full-time nanny, and we were two very successful career people in the Silicon Valley. And what suffered was our relationship.
Yeah.
And in the putting it back together and figuring out what we'd done wrong, what we didn't know, we said, holy cow, everybody needs to have this information. And this was the time when, believe it or not, 15 years ago, we started a podcast network to talk about sex, love, and intimacy. And we did that for a few years and then realized we didn't want to be in podcasting. It was too early on. So we did a pivot. And we started creating essentially online home study programs that, what I like to say, I say my passion is passion. I like to transform having sex into making love. So we created an entire portfolio as a publisher of online home study courses for singles and couples that teaches fundamental sex life skills, bedroom intimacy skills, both communication techniques and lovemaking techniques. And then we realized that people also had a lot of issues with libido, women with vaginal dryness, men with erectile dysfunction. So we came up with a new company with a line of supplements that support your sex drive as well, because we need sex drive support, especially as busy entrepreneurs,
Right.
because people like us, we're crazy workaholics. And we love the brain candy. Like, we're people who like sex. We like sex, most of us, right? But oh God, we love making money and, you know, hitting our numbers,
getting stuff done. Yeah.
Checking stuff off our list.
Yeah.
And so I knew that one of the things that you wanted to talk about today was, how does a successful entrepreneur get a frickin' bedroom life?
Yeah.
And not fall into what I fell into with my husband, you know?
Yeah. No, and before we dig into the nitty gritty, which I know you'll be able to walk us through, I think it's really important to just highlight how you, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, were ultimately showing up and sharing what you needed at the time. And I think in today's day and age, and especially in stressful moments, we look to these influencers or successful people, and we think that they have it all together. And I think it's so humbling and important for us to realize that leaders are showing up and giving what they need or needed. And it's okay if you don't feel like you have it all put together, you're not at 7 figures yet, like, you can show up where you're at. And just like Susan is sharing, like, it will evolve because we all evolve. And so I love how you guys decided, like, oh my gosh, we figured this out. Like, let's share what we know. Let's start a podcast. Okay, now we know more. Let's share more. So really, really important for people, wherever you're on the journey, to just like start showing up, because that's where the growth happens. But yes, okay, I love what you're saying. And this is totally like the shit they don't teach you in college, right? Like,
right.
To be successful, like, you're not just a career person. And so tell us a little bit about, what were those realizations, you know, decades or years ago, when you guys were like, what do we need to piece this back together? What were some of those initial like aha nuggets that you were able to glean?
In the piecing of my intimate life back together, the things that I realized are that sex is fundamentally broken because we're taking a patriarchal view instead of a matriarchal view of sexuality. And I can deep dive into that if you want to, because that's very interesting. That was one. The second thing that we didn't understand was that my partner and I had very different, what I now call relationship values, the things that we're in a relationship for. And a lot of it is driven by not just our upbringing and our socioeconomic experience and our cultural mores. It's also heavily weighted by whether we're dominant in testosterone or estrogen, male or female, right? And when I say that, I also really support people across the gender spectrum and non-binary people, but generally you are driven by the hormone that is predominant in your, in your body. And
Mhm.
so where women tend to want and require a lot of emotional connection and conversation, and we require safety and security, and that might look different for every one of us women. Often what we're looking for are things like security and freedom in equal measure. And that's there's a dichotomy there that especially female entrepreneurs have to kind of wrestle with a bit. So understanding each other's relationship values, I call it playing by the platinum rule instead of the golden rule. The golden rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Treat your partner the way you want to be treated.
Mhm.
That's not going to scale.
Mhm.
What you need to do is get up and understand every day what your partner wants from the relationship. And it's totally different than what you want, and meet them where they are and their needs. And so my best-selling book, I've sold over 25,000 copies, is a little tiny workbook. You can get it at myrelationshipmagic.com at a discount there. Don't buy it on Amazon. Just get it at myrelationshipmagic.com for $10 instead of $27. And you print this workbook out, and it helps you and your partner, or you, if you're single, looking for a partner, so you understand what your needs are and you can clearly communicate them. And that's not being pushy or asking for too much. That's actually being helpful when you can explain what it is you need to feel. So you're feeling the feelings you need to be feeling in the relationship in which you exist.
Mm.
And that was a big shift for us because, oh my God, all of a sudden it became so clear to me why my husband was doing the things to me that he was doing that were driving me crazy, because that's what he wanted me to be doing to him. So
Mm.
that was another piece of it. So I'd say, and then the third piece was 110% truthiness. We had everything to lose and nothing to gain by continuing to bullshit each other, which is basically what our society teaches us to do. Our society teaches us to sugarcoat, walk on eggshells, withhold, just bury our feelings, don't mention it, turn the other cheek, whatever, a million things that don't support just truly saying what you need and being true to yourself. And it took me until I was in my mid 40s to, with everything on the line, to start telling the truth. And we had lied just by accident, just by trying to be like what we thought was the right thing. We had lied our whole lives. And so learning how to tell the truth to each other was challenging, and not because it was ingrained patterns we had to break. When you are truthful, it's not really that you're going to hurt your partner. It's more that you're going to be embarrassed about what is true for you, because you're going to think, oh, I don't deserve this. This isn't what you're supposed to do. You have all these limiting beliefs and these
Mm.
shouldas and couldas and wouldas in your mind,
Mhm.
instead of, what do you want? What do you need? How can I give it to you? Just ask for what you want. And
Yeah.
you admit your human foibles when you tell the truth. You see the evidence of your own insecurities, pettiness, greed, whatever, So all of a sudden in becoming truthful, you're like, oh God, I'm horrible. And so you kind of have to get through that as well.
Mhm.
And that matures you a lot. So the
Mm.
three things, in just to go back over what just like give you the boom, boom, boom answer now, is number one was what women really need in the bedroom and out of the bedroom in a relationship to want to continue to have sex with their partner, not only want it, but enjoy it and love it and be fully sexual beings, by lifting the patriarchal hammer on our sex drive. Number
Mm.
one. Number two is understanding your top relationship values and how yours are different than your partner's, and both equally getting your needs met within the relationship. It turns out it's super easy once you know what they are.
Mm.
And then number three was just being willing to have the vulnerability to tell your real truth and to realize who you truly are and honor that. Those three things. So one was sex and intimacy, women's style, which makes, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Number two was relationship values. And number three was truth, telling talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I love it's almost like the macro to the micro, right? Like overcoming society's beliefs or limiting beliefs that we've taken on and the ways we've decided to operate, and then coming to an understanding both from places of self-awareness and then being able to like do that every day, right? Walk the walk, talk the talk. And so I am curious what that looks like every day. And especially as people are co-inhabiting more, working from home, working on top of each other, not always in the bedroom. What does this look like day to day? How do you embody that process?
Well, the truth telling has become second nature, and it's a pretty easy skill to learn with a little bit of practice. So that one is just telling your truth. And it actually makes your relationship very juicy and interesting, and it makes your life more interesting and more vital.
And it
Um,
also, if I may, it makes it a
yeah,
lot easier. So my partner and I, we go to a lot of like personal development conferences. And
great.
one of them was after we left for 30 days, we had to just act as if we knew exactly what we wanted. You couldn't say, I don't know, or I don't care to anything. So man, was it more simple to pick a restaurant because I have to act like I know what I want. So I want tacos. Tacos it is, right? It made so much of the headache go away, because I think what you're saying is so true, that we sugarcoat and we bend over backwards and we ask other, but just acting as if you know what you want and being direct and truthful. Sometimes, it's not always great. Like, actually, I just want wine and go to bed at 7 p.m. Like, that's my truth today. And maybe that doesn't make me a great person, but that's how I'm feeling. I think that is so important. I just wanted to share that kind of exercise. It's like, even if you don't feel like you know what you want, just act as if you do. Be
Well,
direct.
and the thing is, you do know what you want, especially if you give yourself a multiple choice. So, one of my programs is called the Seduction Trilogy. And the first book is Seduce Her Tonight. The second book is The Seduction Accelerator. And the third book is How to Be Her Sexual Trainer. And it's written for the masculine in the relationship.
Mm.
And what it teaches is that the 4 keys to seduction include, the very first key to seduction is running a woman a menu of small offers. Because the masculine is like, let's go, and he's ready to go, he's got an erection, he's got a goal, testosterone's very goal oriented, he's way ahead of you sexually. And so he'll offer sex and you're like, no, I just got home. And so if he learns, hey baby, can I get you a glass of wine? Would you like to sit on the couch and I'll give you a foot rub while you tell me how your day was?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you like me to go get our towels and take the lid off the hot tub and let's go get in the hot tub? You'll be like, yes, yes, and yes. I want all of those things. And teaching the masculine how to elicit a string of positive yeses from his female-bodied partner so that he can keep escalating the offers by giving her lots of choices. I mean, if you ask anybody, would you rather have one choice or 3 choices? Who's not going to say 3 choices? Everybody likes multiple choice the best.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about that with regard to anything, asking your employees to do things, or talking to your housekeeper, or buying a car, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It is what I would call a core principle of life, a success principle of life is offer people choices. And when you do that, people can move toward, and they can check in with themselves and their truth in the moment and say, oh, well, this is what I'd like. So that has been that's like a really nice little trick that works very well, because you know what you want. You just have to tune in. When you get out of I'll do what other people think, I'm living my life for other people's expectations, I'm trying to be the person I think other people want me to be, which is, you get to that in about your mid-30s where you're like, well, this is bull. I just don't want to do this anymore, which is why mid-30-year-olds are super judgy. If you ever talk to 35-year-olds, they're very judgmental. And that's because it's that point in a person's individuation where they start saying, I'm not living your life, I'm living my life. Some people hit it younger, some people hit it older. It happens again in the mid 40s with midlife crisis. And that's why a lot of people act like teenagers in their midlife. They're making up for the times they were doing what someone else told them to do. And they get into a level of personal power where they're like, nobody's the boss of me. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to have some fun now. Dang it, you know? And so there are definitely these life stages.
Yeah, no, you're making a lot of sense. I'm really intrigued, and I think it's important to notice that when you give yourself the space or you have the right options, you really do know what you want. And I'm curious if, I love the like giving 3 options to a partner or anyone, your teammate. Are there any other like daily practices or routines that you find really help foster intimacy and healthy relationships?
Yes. Let's go back to that matriarchal versus patriarchal view of sexuality. Intercourse is the goal of the masculine. And a lot of sexperts say it's all about the clitoral pleasure, and intercourse is not sex. Don't call intercourse sex. It's not sex. And, that's just a male agenda and things like that. And then you hear about the orgasm gap. You watch the TED Talk about, bridging the orgasm gap, that men 95% of the time or more can achieve climax from intercourse, where maybe half the time some women might be able to, like at super small numbers. And all of those things are somewhat true. But I believe that for the large majority of couples, they are a masculine and a feminine pairing. So I'm going to focus specifically on that right now. And if you are same-gendered sex, or you are non-binary, or you are sapiosexual or polyamorous, or any number of either gender or relationship identities that exist in the world today, just stay with me because you'll still get so much out of this. And I'll make it brief, but essentially, I believe that since the big bell curve of people are heterosexual and monogamous, and they want to have good sex, that's people's good intention. I want people to understand that intercourse can really be the penultimate sexual experience. It is incredibly intimate and connected, and every woman has the ability to have orgasms from intercourse without even having her clitoris touched. So when people talk about you have to play with the clitoris, and I know we're on a business podcast talking about touching the clitoris, but what we're really talking about here, and I'm going to finish this off, but what we're really talking about here is that your sexuality is your life force. It is your vitality. It is the seat of your creativity. And if you're not having good sex because you are under some limiting beliefs, like I'm just not the kind of woman that can have orgasms from intercourse, or I could do it with him, but I can't do it with this guy, that kind of thing. I just want to erase those. I want to lift those limiting beliefs, because orgasm is a learned skill. You get better and better at it as you get older. And you have the ability, because your vaginal opening is literally surrounded with erectile tissue, literally surrounded. There's a cuff of erectile tissue all the way around the opening to your vagina, that the issue is slowing down. The issue is learning to feel more pleasure and sensation in your vulva, and to work on having great intercourse so that you can cross the gasm chasm, bridge the orgasm gap by becoming fully engorged, having a lot of blood flow to your female genitals. And the issue is that because men they have an erection, and everything you see in movies is like, let's go, right? They're like, first thing they do is they rip off their clothes. She doesn't even take off her bra, and he's already penetrated her. And that is the worst thing you could possibly do, and what makes sex get worse and worse over time instead of better and better.
Mm.
So the best practice is slow down, do lots and lots of foreplay, lots and lots of genital massage, get really, really good at oral pleasuring. Anyone who thinks that oral sex is yucky or isn't good or isn't, doesn't get them off, just never had good oral sex. It can be amazing, amazing. But so can intercourse once you learn how to do it. Because over time, as you mature, you get better and better in bed. You have an expanded orgasmic capability. You become a better lover. You get more confident. You increase your skills. It's the same as being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You just learn more stuff that makes you better when you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the one thing I want to say is guard your sex life like the jewel that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Stand for your pleasure. Look inside you and see what your body wants in every moment and ask your partner for what you need in every moment, because he is full of testosterone. It makes him horny all the time. He gets up in the morning and he would love to have sex every day. You, as a female, are on a monthly lunar cycle. Every day, what you want is different. And that's the beauty of the masculine feminine. So having him slow down and make offers and taking the pressure off yourself to think that you just need to be ready to go and you should be orgasmic the minute he enters you and all these things. If that's the one thing I could fix in the world, I know that it would help every entrepreneur be more successful because they would feel great and confident about themselves.
Absolutely. And I know you joked we're talking about, the clitoris on a business show, but the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And like you said, sex is one expression of passion. And if you're rushing through it and you don't think it's going to work for you and you're not into it and it's not, like you said, those are limiting beliefs. And so I love what you're saying about like slowing down, getting clear, taking time to become present and, really experience what's happening. These are lessons that will just make us better at everything else we do and channel our passion in more mindful ways in the bedroom and on the computer or wherever you work, right?
Yes. Amen, sister.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I have just another question, kind of changing gears here for you. Hearing that you and your partner, husband have worked together for some time now. I'm curious, what has been the most surprising thing of co-working with a partner?
Well, I feel like I'm the luckiest woman in the world to get to work with my husband every day. He is brilliant, patient, analytical, thoughtful, incredible with numbers, and the wind beneath my wings. There is no fixed pie mentality. He is a man with an abundant mindset who is confident and sure-footed and believes in the good of the world. He is incredibly patient training every employee. He is incredibly consistent on a day-to-day basis. And it's turned out that as a team, we're incredible together and our employees freaking love us. And we run our company like we're a big family. We take care of everybody. We all chip in. We cross train. We're there for each other. We celebrate the births and the deaths. We're just a team. And what working with Tim, now I've been married to him. I've been with him almost 30 years. This will be our 27th wedding anniversary coming up. And we've been working together for 15 of those, so half of our time. And I have realized that my strengths lie in communication, in netting things out, in strategic thinking, in leadership, in prioritization, in revenue goals, setting them and achieving them, keeping an eye on the number. And we have found that we are incredibly complementary in working together. I'm kind of the letters, he's the numbers. I focus on the sales, he manages the money. I lead the team, He's the he keeps the trains running on time at an operational level. We make all of our decisions together, and we can sustain a high level of disagreement without anybody getting their feelings hurt. And we will wrestle a problem to the ground, and we won't cave till we're both in agreement of the solution. We work our stuff out. We don't fight. We do disagree, but we don't bother fighting. I mean, I can't even remember. If anybody yelled at anybody, it was me. And I don't even want to remember if I yelled at my darling husband, you know? So it's been a wonderful experience. We call ourselves a 21st century global mom and pop shop. And we even call ourselves mom and dad. One of the things this is the first podcast interview that I've done in over a week, because I was completely adrenally exhausted. Because when I saw this pandemic coming, I was like, oh boy, okay. I gotta look at my business. I gotta figure out what to do. But the first thing I have to do is I have to secure us. And then I have to secure my family and my employees. And we were on Zoom calls trying to get people to understand the ghost train that was about to smash them down on the ground if they didn't get off the frickin' tracks. And like, my mom hung up on me, my stepdad hung up on me. Like, I couldn't get my 80-year-old parents to stop going out, into quarantine. I mean, it was just really, really a lot. Our daughter was in college. It got shut down. We have employees all over the Philippines and India and Austin and New York. And I mean, we got people everywhere. And people were slow to see what was happening. And so it just about killed me to get everybody taken care of. And then I had to lie down in bed for 6 days, and I had to watch everything that was going by. And our business is an email marketing business. You get on my email list, and I give you free stuff like crazy. And sometimes you buy my programs, sometimes you buy my affiliates offers. But I looked at what we were about to send out for the next week, because we work a couple weeks ahead. And I'm like, this is tone deaf. Turn it off. I literally turned off my business and didn't send an email out for the last 10 days because they weren't right. And everybody's emailing, and everybody's a freaking expert at something they've never seen. Everybody's like, I'll just show you what to, and I'm like, could everybody just shut up for a little while and just calm down? So I literally turned off my revenue stream. I said, that's it. We're turning it off. Let's not do any. I secured my people. And now I'm in inquiry, listening to, okay, I've got two good businesses in this crisis. I've got a digital delivery business of lovemaking techniques, and people are quarantined at home.
They're
but
bored.
It's too early. Say?
They're bored.
They will be. Right now, they're still freaked out. So right now, the conversation is about how to lower your stress and calm yourself down.
Perfect.
And I run a supplement company with daily vitamins and blood flow, and cardiovascular disease is the #1 COVID killer. So now I'm sitting here, I've taken it all in. I've got everybody safe. I gave every employee who wanted it or needed it a month's worth of money to take care of laying in all their food, all their medicines, all their household goods, anything they needed. And it's not a loan. I gave them the money, and I was like, here you go out, lay it all in, come in the house, lock the frickin' door, and don't go out till we tell you it's safe. I got to protect my people. And so it took so much for me to literally just protect everybody and then turn my business off temporarily till I got right with what our brand is about and how we can support people. And I don't have it right yet. And I won't. I will give up revenue until I know I've got my North Star lit the right way. And because my whole team relies on that. And today I sent out an email this morning, and I said, your jobs are safe. There's too much to worry about here for you to worry about the fact that we're currently not making any revenue. It's not a problem. We have reserves, we can't print money like the federal government, but we have reserves of money, and you have nothing to worry. I sent it to all my contractors as well as all my employees. And I was like, we can go on a very long time paying your full salary with no revenue in sight. Not only that, but you don't even have to worry about that because we're sitting pretty with two businesses that are viable in this crazy pandemic market. And so I've already been getting emails back from my team, like, thank you so much for sending that. I was worried. I was worried. I mean, I see everybody around me getting laid off. I was scared. And thank you for letting me know I'm safe, because safety is the number one thing that we need to create right now. We need to create safe haven and lower stress. That's what we need to do. And we will all get through this. I have been laid off. I've been fired. My CEO of my company dropped dead. We had to sell that company off. I've had, I lost all my money on one of my businesses and had to sell my house in a hard money loan and rebuild everything all over again. I almost lost my marriage. I've had horrible illnesses. I mean, stuff happens to all of us. And what I can tell you, if you haven't been through a couple, I worked through the dot bomb. I made it through September 11th. I mean, these things happen. It's cycles. Mm-hmm. It's bad right now, but everybody's going to be okay, except for a very small part of people who are delicate, and God love the people who will contract this virus and won't make it. Things happen. But if you're listening to this, your chances of coming through this and being okay, everything will work out and you will learn some life lessons. What you want to do is you want to play it as it lays. You don't want to be thinking about what happened in the past, because the past is over, and you don't want to be projecting your fears out into the future. What's going on right now? That's what you need to be focused on. Day by day, when you are scared, all you need to think about is, what is the next thing I need to do? And then do it. And don't worry. Be strong and have your partner, if you have one, hold you, because that slows your nervousness down. It reduces your stress. It increases oxytocin. It makes you feel more secure. So don't even worry about having sex in these times. Just hold each other and love each other and encourage each other that everything will be okay.
Susan, I love how intimacy and passion is evident in everything you do. Truly, truly. When I ask about how do you embody this, I think you just gave a million examples. And so I would love for folks that are listening, entrepreneurs, people cooped up at home, wherever you are, to be able to access some of these tools that you have. So where is the best place for people to get in touch with you and continue, this conversation and working with you?
Well, you can always join my email list at personallifemedia.com. When I do send out emails, they're amazing. You might also like a free technique that I created called the Soulmate Embrace. It's at soulmateembrace.com, and it teaches how to hold and be held in a way that you've always wanted and probably never experienced. And it's great if you're in a coupled relationship across the gender spectrum, because it's a wonderful co-regulation of calming that will also take you down to feeling like, arousal starts in relaxation. It doesn't start, you don't get turned on. You actually have to relax to become turned on. And what this does is, if you're not feeling like you want sex and you're feeling guilty, like, oh, I should be having sex with my partner, I feel really bad, have your partner hold you like this, and you'll be surprised that suddenly you're like, oh, well, maybe I do.
Doesn't that sound perfect right now, everyone? We'll make sure that we get those links below in the show notes here.
Good.
This is so beautiful. I really do hope you all take advantage of these resources. Find Susan, find your partner, take advantage of these embraces. Keep taking care of yourself and the people around you. Susan, thank you again for being here. And I'll be back next week with all of you to help keep making your dream life your real life. Until then.